You guys, I failed. I'm a failure. I'm admitting it here that I am a human being and sometimes I fall short. I am about to go grocery shopping with no meal plan. I failed to make a meal plan for the week and it is time to buy groceries. But if that is you, have no fear. I am in the same boat. I totally get it. Life happens. Sometimes we're sick. Sometimes kids are sick. Sometimes we are out of town. Sometimes we are hosting people from out of town. Sometimes we just prioritize rest and we don't take time to make the meal plan for the week before we're walking into the grocery store. Well, today I'm going to show you what I do on those weeks, how I meal plan on the fly so that I'm still being intentional with the things that I'm purchasing and still being a good steward of the money that I have to spend on the grocery budget. When I am meal planning while I am grocery shopping, one of the first things I will do as I come into the store is pick up the weekly sales flyer because sometimes there is some low-hanging fruit. Sometimes quite literally, some fruit on sale, which is actually one of the first things that I picked up. The grapes actually look good today. They look crispy. Comment down below if you know what I mean, like crispy grapes. Am I making sense? I feel like these are the biggest lemons ever. There's only like 4 in a 2-pound package. These are half-pound lemons. The fresh veggie trifecta for my children. These are the fresh vegetables that they will pretty much always eat. So gotta grab those. By the way, a little tip, if you have an issue with these mini cucumbers going bad or like getting slimy or moldy really quickly, I have learned to rinse these. I put them in a vinegar rinse, cold water, splash of vinegar, and then let them dry completely and store them in the refrigerator, and that really helps keep them from like getting slimy and moldy as quickly. But I also immediately noticed when I looked at the sales flyer that they have chicken drumsticks on sale for 89 cents a pound. This is actually not a great day to be in Aldi shopping because it's Tuesday and their sales turn over on Wednesday, so I'll have to see if they have any in stock. But if they do, I'm definitely going to be picking those up because my kids love chicken drumsticks. There are lots of different ways that I can make them, including in the Crockpot, and I'm going to get a really great price for it. Also, super happy to see these in the sales flyer because my kids asked me to pick up a few more of these. I don't care for avocados. I wish I did because I know they have a lot of health benefits, but they're not my thing. But when my kids ask, I try to make it happen. These sale chicken drumsticks are gone, but they do still have the regular ones for $1.19 a pound, only 30 cents more per pound. And since I've already thought of that meal in my head, I'm gonna stick with it. Another thing I will do while I'm in the store sometimes is pull out my phone and check our schedule. I wanna see how busy we're gonna be. I need to see who's gonna be home what nights. Are there extra things thrown into our calendar that are going to keep us, out of the house at dinner time? That may mean that we need some more convenience in the week, or there may be nights when we're home and that's going to be a better night to plan a meal that will take a little longer to prepare. The other thing I will look up is the weather. Does anybody else check on the weather? Does anybody else meal plan according to what the weather's going to be like? I'm usually in the mood for different things if it's rainy and cooler as opposed to if it's sunny and warm. McKenna has been asking for these for her lunch, the little salad bowls. I think they're $2.97 at Walmart. They're $2.89 here. She likes the chicken Caesar salad ones, and at first I balked at them because I told her that was I didn't want to pay that for her to pack a lunch, but honestly that's probably less than the school lunch cost for her now, and anytime my kid asks to take a salad, I should probably make that happen, right? That's probably a decent choice. This week for my family, we actually don't have a lot of extra things thrown into the evening calendar, but Mindy, have a lot of extra work obligations. I'm gonna be on the news again in the morning time in Tulsa, and so that's gonna take up one of my days. And I just know that even though I may have the time to cook in the evening, I may not have as much mental bandwidth because I have a lot of extra work things on my plate. So I'm going to be thinking about, some easy meals and maybe a few convenience ones to help me this week. Yes, I am so glad they still have these. I've been wanting to try them. It's a great week for it because they're a convenience item and I'm picking up 2 for my family. A few weeks back, I was in here to pick up just some really easy throw together heat meat meals for a friend of mine who just had a baby. And this was one of the items that I sent her. It's the Priano Italian sausage ravioli. And she said these were really, really good. So we're gonna try them ourselves. And I'm gonna find like some kind of sauce or something to put on them. Let's go see what we can figure out. I am actually not a huge fan of jar Alfredo sauce, but if you've tried the Priano brand, let me know. I don't think I've tried that. But also because the raviolis have sausage and cheese in them, I feel like that might be just a little bit too rich. So I could go with a pesto. I do have a daughter who absolutely loves pesto on anything, but I'm kind of thinking maybe this calls for just a traditional marinara again, since hopefully those pastas themselves, those raviolis have a lot of flavor already in them. I'm going with the Priano Gourmet tomato basil sauce. So We're getting fancy, y'all. We're getting fancy. This is one of my favorite pastas right now, the Priano brand bronze cut. They have the small ones, like the penne and the shells and stuff, and then they have the linguine and the spaghetti. 10 out of 10. Would totally recommend. Ooh, this is a really good clearance find, you guys. These Chef's Cupboard soup mixes, I think they're a dupe of the Bear Creek. They're marked down to 99 cents in my Aldi. I might have to pick a couple of those up because those are a good starting point for a lot of meals. Another type of recipe or meal to think about for this particular sort of meal plan when you're just making it up as you go in the grocery store is a frequent flyer or a tried and true recipe. You know, those recipes that you keep making over and over again because you know your family likes them, because you know they will eat them, you know them so well that you don't even have to look at the recipe anymore. You know exactly what goes in it, which means that while you're standing in the grocery store, you know exactly what you need to purchase to make that meal, and it's just something that you've made so often you can practically put it on autopilot when you're throwing it together, right? We have lots of meals that fall into that category that I've shared here on this channel before, and one of them is some kind of sausage tortellini soup. My family will pretty much always eat that. I mean, it's like Italian sausage, tortellinis, fire roasted tomatoes, cream, spinach, Parmesan, different seasonings, and I know from having looked at the weather earlier that we're gonna have a cold, rainy day this week. This is gonna be something easy to throw in the crock pot, and it will really hit the spot on that particular day. And I really don't even need to look at the recipe because I've made it or something like it so many times. I know exactly what I need to pick up here. I am realizing now that I have picked up an Italian sausage ravioli and also ingredients for a sausage tortellini soup. It's somewhat similar, but you know what? I'm not that worried about variety this week. Once you have all your meals planned while you're shopping in the store, something to consider is adding one more meal than you would typically plan, preferably something that can easily be stored or frozen if you end up not using it. This can be especially helpful if you find yourself in this position a lot. If it is the rule and not the exception that you are often out of time when it comes to meal planning, or that you are walking into the store without a plan for what you're gonna make for your family for the week, adding one more meal to what you would normally use, and then using that day when you make that meal to actually plan the next grocery trip might help you break that cycle. This is another convenience item that I really like here. These are pre-marinated boneless pork shoulders. They have a barbecue one, but the one we like is the carnitas. These cook up beautifully in the slow cooker, and we can make tacos out of them. We can make burrito bowls. We can make sandwiches. So I'm picking up one of these to toss in my freezer. I'm not sure that I'll need it this week, but if I do, I'll have it. And if I don't need it this week, then I can, you know, save it for another busy week. I just finished shopping and getting everything loaded up, so I'm gonna get home and get it all put away. And then I will take you through this week of meals. I'm gonna show you the final plan that I came up with, that I made while I was shopping in the store. But first, I wanna thank today's sponsor, nuts.com. Today's video is sponsored by nuts.com, your one-stop shop for freshly roasted nuts, dried fruit, sweets, pantry staples like coffee and specialty flours, and so much more. Their wide selection of products means there's something for everybody at nuts.com. This is my most recent nuts.com order, which arrived impressively on my doorstep the very next day after I ordered it. And my family has been begging me to unbox this so that they can dive into what's inside. Since it is baseball season, we have been spending a lot of time on our back patio watching our beloved Rangers, so I was really thinking about that as I placed this order. These are roasted salted peanuts in the shell, and these are roasted salted peanuts in the shell, but Cajun flavored. I mean, what says baseball more than peanuts? Or popcorn. 12 ounces of kettle popcorn in this bag right here. I am a huge fan of saltwater taffy, so of course I had to get some to try out. Those are good. I'm gonna go hide those from the family. And I can tell you right now that this bag of Monkey Munch, this chocolate and peanut butter coated cereal, is probably not gonna last more than 24 hours in my house. And a favorite and a repeat purchase for us are the Supreme Roasted and Salted Cashews. So delicious. At nuts.com, quality is a top priority. So they roast their nuts and pop their corn the same day that it ships. So you can be sure that what is arriving on your doorstep is deliciously fresh, satisfaction guaranteed. Right now, nuts.com is offering new customers a free gift with a purchase, plus free shipping on orders of $29 or more when you visit nuts.com/Mindy. So go check out all the delicious options over at nuts.com/Mindy. If you're a new customer, you're gonna be getting a free gift plus free shipping on orders of $29 or more. Again, that's nuts.com/Mindy. Tonight is just a super easy go-to shopping day meal that I use a lot. It's a take and bake pizza, and bonus points, I found one with a red sticker today, and then a bag salad kit. And I do this a lot on shopping days because I've usually been out buying the groceries and then putting the groceries away, and sometimes kind of reorganizing things in the fridge and the pantry. And by the time we're done with that, I'm just sort of done thinking about food for the day. And this is a really easy one to throw together and still get everybody fed. And I've said this many times, and I'll probably say it every time we get a take and bake pizza, but they make great lunch preps, especially for kids. You just bake up that bad boy, let it cool down, slice it up and put it in the fridge, and then they can pack it in their lunches. My kids do that all the time. It has cooled down here in Tulsa. I had to fix myself another cup of coffee, and we are expecting some rain. Hopefully we get rain. We could really use it. So it's the perfect evening for a really delicious sausage tortellini soup. This is something that my family eats. There's usually no leftovers. And you can make this on the stove, but I'm gonna do it in the crock pot because tonight is one of those nights when we're eating in shifts because we have some activities that are taking us out of the house. I just finished browning up my pound of Italian sausage. I also put a little bit of minced garlic in with it at the very end when it was almost done browning. I've turned the saute function off and switched it over to slow cook. And now I'm gonna add a little Italian seasoning, probably about a teaspoon or so. Well, actually, let's make it 2. I don't think this soup needs a ton of seasoning because the sausage is heavily seasoned. I'm also gonna add just a little bit of red pepper flake, probably about half a teaspoon or so. You can leave that out if you don't like the kick. I'm not gonna add any additional salt right now because the sausage is salty and some of the other ingredients have salt as well, so I'll just taste for that at the end. 1 can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. You could use regular tomatoes, that'd be fine. And about 3 cups of chicken broth. I am just going to use one of these bouillon cubes that I'm trying to use up, and 3 cups of water. Totally optional, but if you have Parmesan rinds in your freezer left over from the Parmesan wedges, that's a good addition here as well. I'm going to pop the lid on that. Low for 5 to 6 hours, high for 2 to 3, and then we'll come back and finish it up. This has been on high, cooking on high for about 3 hours. So I'm going to add my tortellinis, and this is just a little 9-ounce package of the vacuum sealed tortellini from Aldi. The frozen ones or fresh ones are better. Frozen would take a little longer to cook. Fresh would take not quite as long to cook, but they only carry this kind at my Aldi, at least that I've seen. So that's what we're gonna go with today. Then I'm also adding some heavy cream. This is left over from Easter from making fettuccine, probably about 3/4 of a cup. Pop the lid back on. That'll probably take about 20 to 30 minutes to cook the tortellini, and then we'll be ready to serve it up. Just kidding, I almost forgot the spinach. Fortunately, I saw it in time. Of course, you can leave this out too. You don't have to use spinach. You could probably use kale instead. I just usually put in a couple handfuls, stir that in so that it's submerged, and then it will cook and wilt with everything else while everything else is cooking. Okay, now we're ready to let it cook. Okay, here it is. I just have some Parmesan cheese on top, and then I got just a plain baguette, heated that up in the oven, and that is dinner tonight. It's gonna be delicious, smells amazing, always a hit. Tonight, I am making some garlic butter chicken drumsticks in the crock pot. So I am peeling a ton of garlic right now. I want like at least an entire bulb's worth of garlic, maybe a bulb and a half, like 15 or 20 cloves of garlic. I bought 4 pounds of chicken legs at Aldi, and I rinsed them and I put them in my crock pot. And I made a seasoning from a 1/4 cup of just grated green can Parmesan cheese, and about a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, a teaspoon of garlic salt, a teaspoon of onion powder, and about half a teaspoon of red pepper flake. I sprinkled that over the chicken drumsticks in the crock pot, and I actually ended up not using it all. I had a couple tablespoons left over. It felt like enough. And once I'm done peeling the garlic, I'm gonna drop that in with the chicken drumsticks, and also 4 tablespoons of butter cubed. Then I'll pop the lid on that and get those going. I'm guessing it's gonna take about 4 to 5 hours on low. My crock pot tends to cook hot, so it might be a little bit faster. We are gonna have these Priano risotto mixes. I got 1 4 cheese and 1 roasted garlic. I'm just gonna make them together. I have always bypassed these in Aldi because this is not typically how you make risotto. I like risotto, but it is kind of tedious to make. You have to add the liquid just a little bit at a time to help make it creamy. But I'm interested to see how these turn out. I might add a little bit of extra Parmesan cheese or a splash of heavy cream or something like that, but we'll give these a try. The chicken is so tender and flavorful. I'm really glad that I tried it this way. Of course, you can use other seasonings. I think chicken drumsticks, there's lots of ways you can season them, and when you cook them in the crock pot, they're gonna come out super tender. The risotto is also really good. Just like regular homemade risotto, you do have to keep an eye on it. You have to keep stirring it, but it's really tasty. I already tried it. And then we have just a side salad here, a little Caesar salad put together, and that's dinner tonight. We are rolling into the weekend now, and it's a beautiful day. It's gonna be a beautiful evening for sitting out on the patio and cheering on our Texas Rangers. So I'm going to just be making some chicken tenders. I picked up 2 different kinds, the Aldi brand chicken strips, and then this Tyson brand Southern Breast tenderloin. So we're gonna be making both of those. And since I'm making chicken strips, I thought that I would track down a recipe for some homemade Cane's sauce from Raising Cane's. Thought that would be really good to go with the chicken tenders. And since I'm making Cane's sauce, can I really not make crinkle cut fries? I think that's probably a rule. If you're having chicken tenders and Cane's sauce, you have to have the crinkle cut fries to dip in the sauce too, right? Tonight I have probably the easiest meal of all, I guess, besides the pizza that I made the first night. And that is these Italian sausage raviolis. I'm just gonna cook these according to the package directions, and then I'm gonna heat up the sauce, toss it all together. We're gonna eat the rest of the salad fixings for Caesar salad, and I'm gonna use the pizza dough that I purchased to make garlic knots. All I do is pinch it off in little balls, roll it up, tie it into little knots, brush a little garlic butter over the top, and then pop them in the oven until they're baked. I do mine at 350, usually just takes like 7 to 8 minutes on those. So really easy meal. Will come together probably in about 20 minutes, and I cannot wait to try these sausage raviolis. We are going to end this week of on-the-fly meals with a sweet treat. I picked up one of my favorite refrigerated cookie doughs. It's this sea salt caramel and chocolate chunk cookie dough from Aldi. Just gonna bake those up and then top it with a little scoop of ice cream. I hope this video was helpful and inspiring. Be sure to give it a thumbs up if it was. Pick out one of these videos to watch next, and I'll see you there.